Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never practice nunchucks in a crowded room. Never eat chole before a road trip. Always take your shirt off before you iron it. Don't take a call near a swimming pool. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Many of you have been asking me to talk about the problems that Andhra is having with its new planned capital, Amaravati, because there's been a change of government there. This is seen by the new government, that is Jagan's government of YSRCP, as an idea of the previous chief ministers. In many of our states now, the rivalries between local parties border on enmity. They are not healthy rivalries anymore. So, one, you damn anything that your predecessor was doing. Second, particularly if it was a big idea, so you know that in my 5 years, I will take it to a certain level. Ultimately, the other guy might get credit. And third, there is that fear of, young people like to say FOMO, fear of missing out. So I'd say FOMO, FOHMO, fear of having missed out. So fear of having missed out. That's what maybe the new incumbent has. That look, a whole new city has to be built. 33,000 acres has been acquired. Work has started. Land is where the money is. Land is where the action is. And somebody else took the action, and I will, or piece of the action, and I will now be carrying it forward. So this is unacceptable that I missed out on this. So these are the various factors which have led to what's happening right now in Andhra Pradesh with Amaravati. Now, I will tell you, there's a problem with India and the cities. And this is my pet peeve. If you've been watching Cut the Clutter for some time, you will know that I have talked about this several times. I talked about this when we took up the issue of the coastal road in Bombay, which High Court had struck down. Fortunately, Supreme Court has now stayed that flawed order in my view. High Court's order flawed. Supreme Court has done the right thing. Second, we talked about some of these aspects again when it came to the RA tree cutting and metro shed controversy. And we've talked about it in some other contexts also. So in India, we do not build cities because we think, in our supreme hypocrisy, we think that cities are evil. Only villages are virtuous. But where do villagers go when they need more opportunity? Then we say India's agriculture is declining because too many people depend on agriculture. Agriculture just has too many people involved in it. So to look for opportunities, look for jobs, education, equality, anonymity, infrastructure, they go to cities. But we don't build new cities. As a consequence, our existing cities get slummified. Look around Bombay, come into land in Bombay, all you see around you is a sea of slums. Large parts of Delhi are glorified slums. They may be called unauthorized colonies. As Modi government recently said, while regularizing them, there are 40 lakh people living there. Those are glorified slums. All our other cities, including Bangalore, have grown slums because these cities simply do not have the ability to grow. And because they are not growing, people who are coming from everywhere are just piling onto these cities. So that has been my big crib. Now, my friend Jairam Ramesh invented this expression. I wish I had done it. India's EOK problem. What is EOK? East of Kanpur problem. So as you go east of Kanpur, see the map of India, go east of Kanpur, you find a declining picture. Economically, quality of life, social indicators, they decline, in fact, until you cross into Bangladesh. Your social indicators keep declining. So India has now built this huge regional imbalance. So first of all, draw a line, just work with me, draw a line from Delhi until Kolkata. Between Delhi and Kolkata, will you find me one city to which somebody who leaves his or her home in a village looking for education, opportunity, better housing, better infrastructure, whatever, anonymity of a big city, there is not one city to which they can relocate and look for opportunity. Similarly, once again, look at Mumbai to Chennai. Just follow the route of the Golden Quadrilateral that Vajpayee built. So just follow that, and you see, barring maybe Bangalore, which is on the side, there is nothing on that axis also. So that's the reason Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, to some extent Kolkata, Hyderabad, they are now burgeoning with people coming in, straining the infrastructure of those cities and also slumifying them. So the quality of life of the entire city is coming down. At the same time, people have to move to cities. For people to move to cities, but healthy, well organized, well run cities, and to be able to lead a life of dignity, and for more wealth creation, remember, cities is where your jobs are, cities is where your incomes are, cities is where your taxes are. So to create more infrastructure, to create more jobs, to create more taxes, you need to build more cities. But you know, since independence, how many cities have we built in India? Chandigarh and maybe two half cities, Gandhinagar near Ahmedabad and New Raipur or near Raipur, the capital of or the capital complex of the new state of Chhattisgarh. Each one of these has been done because there was no option, under compulsion, Masburi mein kiya hai. So Chandigarh, because Punjab got divided, a lot of the Punjab went to Pakistan and the capital of Punjab was Lahore, that went to Pakistan. So Punjab that was left behind needed a capital. So Chandigarh was built. Also, those were good times for India. Mid-50s, Nehru was in his big temples of modern India phase. So Bhakra Nangal Dam got built, Chandigarh got built, and I know people will get upset when I say so. There were no activists to stop this of the kind that you see in Bombay, stopping every project in that city. So Chandigarh got built at that point. After that, Gandhinagar got built because the state of Gujarat, Bombay, there was a split. So state of Gujarat needed a capital complex. Gandhinagar got built, although Gandhinagar is less of a city, but more a Sarkari ghetto, a glorified, gentrified Sarkari ghetto. Similarly, Naya Raipur got built because new state of Chhattisgarh was created and they needed a capital complex. So New Raipur got created. India has not built a greenfield city since Chandigarh. And remember, when a city gets built and the state gets divided, people fight. So Punjab got divided. Haryana said, we will not leave Chandigarh. Punjab said, we will not let go of Chandigarh. So both share the same capital. That capital complex in Chandigarh is a mess because they share the same secretariat, same assembly hall, the same high court space. Punjab and Haryana also have a joint high court. It's something that should not be there. Haryana should have built a capital of its own by now. That would have been an opportunity to build a new city in North India, but that opportunity has gone begging, simply because the two states are like all estranged brothers, are not willing to make any concession to each other. Now that was our concern also when Telangana was being formed, that people of Andhra were really sentimental about the city of Hyderabad. They were quite okay to let go of the districts that were going under Telangana because those were poorer districts, more inland districts. There was a regional imbalance in Andhra Pradesh because the coastal districts had become much richer. They also had more water, so the farmers were more rich, whereas the inland, the deeper districts were drier, had no natural wealth, were far away from the coast and were getting left behind. I mean, you could see that their basic focus was Hyderabad. They were sentimental about Hyderabad because rich people from coastal Andhra districts had brought in their wealth and invested it in Hyderabad. So Hyderabad was a city deep inland in old Andhra, so in Telangana, but much of it was owned, much of what was of value in this was owned by people from coastal districts. So there was an emotional commitment. That's why I was hoping, and I wrote an article then, at that point, my national interest, and you will find it with our description today. You can click on that link and read it, which was headlined simply Seconderabad, Seconderabd, which means it's a play on Secunderabad, but Seconderabad. So build a second city, build a second Hyderabad in what used to be Andhra Pradesh. This was a marvelous opportunity. And I am glad that Chandigarh formula was not followed for these states, that the states were allowed to split and Hyderabad remained with Telangana. That capital was not shared. It was also then the idea of the leaders of Andhra, combined Andhra, and now those who were going away with the new Andhra, that this was an opportunity for them to build a city maybe even grander than the new parts of Hyderabad. So this land was acquired, 33,000 acres, through a very innovative scheme of land pooling, where farmers were made stakeholders in the new city project, and the Amaravati project was launched on a very ambitious basis. In fact, then I had said that, look, how do we even analyze this Telangana Andhra situation? Because both states have the same language, same culture, same food. Maybe one side has a bit more mirchi than the other. The same names, the same caste structures, the same capital, if they continue to have the same capital. But they have a big regional imbalance. So maybe it would be a good idea that Andhra, which already has an entrepreneurial culture, particularly when it comes to contracts, building infrastructure, building dams, building highways, wherever you see something being built, you will find a contractor from Hyderabad doing it. That's why sometimes I call entrepreneurs from Andhra Pradesh Andhrapreneurs. So we thought that these entrepreneurs will come and build this marvelous capital city, and this will be the first greenfield city built in India since mid-1950s, so in more than 60 years. Unfortunately, that has come to a standstill. Now, I will tell you what exactly has happened right now. What's happened is that, as I said to you, Jagan is very skeptical of this project. He has pretty much stopped the project. In this budget, last budget, and I have these details from our correspondent in Hyderabad, Prasad Nichana Metla, and he tells me that in this year's budget, Jagan only allocated 500 crores to the capital project, although it's functioning out of Amaravati, or what is called as Amaravati, like a camp office, like a temporary office. Already, World Bank, Asian Infrastructure Bank have pulled out of it. They are not going to finance this project because they are not convinced of the state government's commitment to it. Singapore, a Singapore consortium in partnership with which Chandrababu Naidu was building this capital city, they have also pulled out. The state government has also cancelled land allotted to Lulu Group, which is a very well-respected group from the Gulf, which was going to build a lot of commercial complexes and shopping, etc. there. They've also gone. Many others have pulled out. And now you've had some really, in my view, nutcase ideas coming in. And frankly, this is the city of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Delhi. I don't see why the shadow of Muhammad bin Tughlaq be hanging so heavy over the new state of Andhra Pradesh, because the new idea is to not have one capital, but have three capitals. So one capital, Amaravati, that will carry on. So just build a limited capital there and locate your legislature in Amaravati. Locate your executive, which means the Chief Minister's office and all the other offices, in Vizag, on the coast. And then take away your judiciary to Kurnool, which is deep inland in Rayalaseema. And what is the example we are given the parallel? Oh, South Africans have it. South Africans have their commercial capital might be Johannesburg, but their executive capital is Pretoria, not far from Johannesburg, but Pretoria. Their legislative capital is Cape Town, and their judicial capital is Bloemfontein. You know all these cities because cricket matches are played there. So we don't know what were the reasons why this was done in South Africa. To do this in India now in 21st century is a national tragedy. In fact, the state government set up another commission, now to a committee, to advise them on this capital formation. And they came up, you see, in India, I told you many times that Victor Hugo was wrong when he said nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. In India, a different rule follows. Nobody can stop a bad idea whose time has come. Second, it's a three-part rule. Any bad idea whose time has come will be made worse by somebody. And third, as that idea progresses, the bad idea progresses and continues to get worse, there'll be fewer and fewer people left to oppose it because everybody will then say, koi choice hi nahi hai. So they've now said, look, this is not confusing enough that you have your high court in one place, you have your assembly in one place, and you have your government in another place. You actually should have multiple benches of your high court, which means your high court then has benches at Amaravati and Vizag also, besides being headquartered in Kurnool. Dog's breakfast. And if you think this is bad enough, I shall tell you more. It gets worse. Also to say that there should be a summer legislature in Vizag as well. So this is Mohammed bin Tughlaq on 20 cups of double caffeine coffee. And God knows what else he might have smoked or drunk. This is madness, and this has to stop. See, in Kashmir, every winter you shift the government from Srinagar to Jammu, then after the winter you go back from Jammu to Srinagar. That's bad enough. And you have a bad example. At least there is some excuse there of weather. There is no excuse of weather there. This is just power going to people's heads. This is Tughlaq raised to the power 3, Tughlaq cubed. Because it's happening in the 21st century. In any decent democracy, the Prime Minister of the country will pick up the phone or call the Chief Minister and say, boss, you're a young man, I'm telling you this, don't do this. And your father would not have done it. His father was a visionary. He would have built a city much bigger than what Babu would have imagined. And he would have made sure that everything in the city was named after somebody from his party or his family, etc., etc. And there would have been no nishan of Chandrababu Naidu or TDP there. But this is, I would say, nihilistic, what is happening right now. Because look, India has a big stake in this city being built. Look at the map of India, the coastal map of India. You will see the imbalance right away. You will see all the states along the west coast booming. Except one state, which is Kerala on the west coast. Every state on the west coast is investment friendly. It's investment friendly. It opens out to foreigners, it opens out to, and it has very disciplined labor, etc. Kerala apart. But if you look at the east coast, barring Tamil Nadu to some extent, the opposite happens. That is the reason you will find that the most booming ports so far have been to India's west coast. Most new airports, all new airports being built in India, including Kochi, Thrissur, they are all on India's west coast. Not one of these new brilliant airports has been built on India's east coast. So India has built this horrible west-east imbalance. It's not just an EOK, east of Kanpur problem. It's an east of Delhi problem, or I would say east of the western coastline problem. For that to happen, a big new city coming up towards the east coast was going to be a big blessing. And now, if this gets blocked like this is a tragedy. I do hope that this is not enacted. You know, through history, powerful people have loved cities. Rulers, conquerors. Why do they love cities? Because they come, they conquer the city, then they sack and plunder it, and they go away with the wealth because they know there is wealth in a city. Our politicians also look at cities the same way because they know their votes are in the villages. So they get their votes, get their power, but they know the money is in the cities and the city's land and the city's businesses. So they get their electoral power, political power from the villages, come and plunder the cities. But there was an exception. There were also people like the Mughals who, instead of just coming and plundering cities and going away, actually built cities. So I wish some of our rulers today will take inspiration from the Mughals instead of the other plunderers and conquerors, or a nutcase like Mohammed bin Tughlaq. So I do hope that for the sake of not just the people of Andhra, but for the sake of all of India, especially east of India, along the eastern seaboard, that this city project, capital city project is revived. Again, in a more perfect world, the Prime Minister could have reasoned with the Chief Minister, but if the Prime Minister is distracted, or if the Prime Minister's party is making other deals with the Chief Minister, vote for this, vote for that, then it gets into a mess. So once again, I am hoping that wise counsels will prevail, and not after some noises, inquiries, etc., name calling, we'll be back to building Amaravati as India's first new city after Chandigarh, after 60 years, and frankly, among the greatest new cities, modern cities in India.